The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing that's going on with people is the fear, man. When you have a hard time dealing, you have anxiety, you have apprehension, you're just fearful of the future and fearful of the disease. Some people had anxiety before this. This is going to accelerate everything. That's going to be real hard for mental health of people. It's going to be people that are going to have a really hard time also accepting that this is just something that happened to them. This is not something that they did wrong. You know, when something goes bad and you did something wrong, it kind of like, I made a bad decision. I should have done it that way. I fucked up and we should have had that meeting. And then, you know, you might know why your business fell apart. But if it falls apart now, it's like you didn't even do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And the government gets to tell you, they have to sit back. Now, if you were a conspiracy theorist, and so many of them are, you would think, what would be the best way to gain more control of the people? The best way, first of all, to accelerate despair and accelerate unemployment. You would do all the things that are just going to happen from what naturally happens in a disease. People are willing to give up certain civil liberties if they think they can get more safety. And it's true. We should stay home. It's true. It will be better for everybody. It's true that we need to take precautions. It's true that we need to self-isolate. All those things are true. But it's also true that you're giving a certain amount of power to the government to lock things down and control you. They're giving people tickets in New York. If they catch them walking around, they give them $500 tickets. And they're doing it in other places too, I'm sure. And that's where it gets weird, man, because who are these people? These people that are telling you can't go anywhere, they're just the government. They're just people. They're people telling people that they can't go somewhere, which is fine if we need to do that like right now. But what if it just sort of stays that way? What if it stays that way to a lesser extent? What if they decide, you know how we're going to stop coronavirus from really taking place? I want to know where you're going. I want to know where you're going. I want to know when you go through each state, we're going to have checkpoints. We're going to pull you over. It's going to be a heightened police state. Sir, have you been tested for the coronavirus? And you put a fucking thing on your forehead? What if this thing really does start coming back the way it has in Wuhan, where people tested negative and then they later tested positive? If that happens here, are we going to keep this lockdown thing going on? What if it's something that we all have and it comes back like when John Jones had those steroids in his system and the picograms and it just kept flashing back? I mean, what if that's with this stuff? What if we test positive for coronavirus every couple of years? What if it's like herpes? What if you keep it for life? What if we're assuming we got rid of it? We're going to just accept martial law? We're just going to accept tanks in the streets? What are we going to accept? It's a real good question. So if you were a nut right now, you would be fucking going crazy because you'd be saying all the pieces are in place for like a hostile takeover. And they're in place because they really truly are the best ways to save people's lives. Like it's all a smart thing to do. But if you were a conspiracy theorist, you'd say this is exactly what I would do if I wanted to take over. And that's what we have to be really careful of. We got to be careful of somehow or another walking that very fine balance of protecting people from a disease, this invisible killer, and preserving our freedom and preserving rights. All those things are very important that we don't just give that up because it's not the way to go. It's just not. We have to figure out our way through this disease, and then we have to figure out some way to return to normalcy. And that's got to happen. We can't just stay like this where no one works anymore. We can't just not ever take risks. We can't just not go out. So once this does get rolling again, it's going to be real interesting to see how much, if any, control the government retains, how much, if any, restrictions get imposed, how much of these restrictions we just absorb and they become new things, like a normal thing rather, where you just go to the airport, you have to take a temperature test. You go to the airport and they want to test you.
Or we're going to have to start wearing suits, like kind of like Star Wars, like these kind of suits
God.
with helmets and breathing apparatus, and everyone that works at the grocery store is going to be robots, you know. And
imagine that. You get to the hotel and you
yep.
You decompress and unzip. And you can enjoy New York City from your balcony. Look, it's so pretty out there with all the murderous viruses swarming around, killing people. What if the viruses got together and made virus tornadoes and started just throwing people against walls?
Or virus babies if
Why
you're
not?
born.
Listen, man, if a wind can pick up a semi and make it fly through the air, like we've seen, why can't a virus tornado just slam you into a wall? Imagine if like viruses accelerate billions of times and they form colonies and they become intelligent and they realize if they move quick enough, they can actually they can knock you off your feet and they go down your throat like a demon.
I don't know. That's not happening already.
It's crazy for sure, but so is a regular virus. So is a regular virus. I mean, just what we were reading about the H1N1 and all these other flus that kill so many countless thousands of people. Not countless. They counted them. They're actually pretty accurate, right? We had to double check. I mean, just think about the sheer numbers of people that have died from those things. If those were demons instead of diseases, how freaky would that be? If we're like, look, we're going to lose a certain amount of people every year to demons, no matter what we do. Why is it better to lose to a virus than a demon?
Little Godzillas. I got from a little Godzilla.
Little Godzilla's just running up into your window and killing your grandma.
Baby Godzilla.
Like, fuck! God damn it! You go in there and she's just bones, just white bones sticking up. There's a horde of little Godzillas just chewing through her meat. Why would that be more horrific than a virus? This silent thing that chokes you to death. I need to know.
I've been thinking that, like, it's hilarious. There's been that talk when we've talked about UFOs that all the world needs to get to come together is like that alien invasion.
Yeah.
This is not too different than what that would be. It is an alien, technically.
Yeah,
It's not.
it is.
It's foreign to us.
Action Bronson had it right the whole time. Just get high and watch Ancient Aliens. And try to get so high, you just try to sort through what they're saying. He figured it out.
It's interesting to think, what if this did come from, space, like this whole virus?
They're sick of us.
Yeah.
Imagine. Yeah. Just try to something. Just the real fear is that they're eventually going to have something that you can't fix. Not anymore, bitch. Now no one's going to know anywhere. If you wanted to take over the world, isn't that the way you would do it? I'm not saying that that's what's happening. But I'm saying if you were writing a book on a takeover of the world by another nation, what better way to do it than that?
What if North Korea was behind all this?
Well, I don't think they have the resources. China, since it's in China, it's much more likely. Look, it started from China, whether it was intentional or unintentional. That's not beside the point. I don't think it was intentional, but I think that when things like this happen, people do take advantage of opportunity. And you got to be real careful who gets the better hand when they're taking advantage of opportunity. It's just, it's new ground. It's weird for people. They know where it came from. They have isolated that this thing did come from this market in Wuhan. Mm-hmm. They know. It's just, it's the way things like this can play out. If there's a bunch of these, is almost just like someone starting a conspiracy. It's not, it doesn't have to be done. Like it just actually naturally exists. And the same people that would benefit from a conspiracy or who would engage in a conspiracy to defraud people or fuck people over in the first place, they're the ones who are going to jump in and take advantage of it the quickest. That's what's so scary about it. Totalitarian ideas thrive when people are scared. They want someone to take over the reins. They want someone to take over. We're going to block the streets. No more travel. We're going to block this. You can't go to work. Then you're going to be poor and broke and scared. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. But what I am saying is if you wanted to do something to really take over a civilization, it would be this way. That's how you would do it. You would do it with diseases. I'm not saying they're doing that. I don't think they are. I think this is just a horrible natural disaster. I want to be really clear on that. But we might come out of this different than we went in. That's real. There's tanks driving down the road in California. Tanks. And they're like, oh, they're just getting supplies or something. Like, what do you... There's tanks rolling through New York City. My friend John Joseph.
Wow.
He sent me a video from his phone of tanks rolling down New York City. Like armed Humvees and tanks.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, freaky, like military vehicles in camo. Like, where are you hiding? You're in New York City. What are you hiding from? What kind of camo is that? Is it weird that they, even when they use them in cities, they camo them up?
Yeah,
It seems so rude.
it is.
It's like to let you know. They might hide in the bushes too, bitch. But they drive through the cities to lock everybody down.
If they had those murdered out matte black paint jobs instead, it would be a little bit more intimidating, maybe.
Fuck
I don't
yeah.
know.
Little pieces of pizza slices and stuff.
Well, it's at least with camo. If you have your car is all camoed up and you're not in the military, you know they're gonna have an eye on you anyway. Like, what are you doing? Right?
Unless you're in like West Virginia.
Dudes who have like camoed up H1s, Hummers, and they're driving those real military style Hummer around. Like, please check that guy's house. You know, please read his Facebook. Please. You just got to give up a microchip. They just put a microchip in your hand and you're fine. And it's also, it doubles as a corona tester. So you make sure that you never get mistaken for someone with corona. They just have to scan you. Hey, you going into this bathroom? Can I have your hand, please? Whomp. Up, green. Go ahead and urinate with peace and harmony. Go ahead.
We're putting those UV lights everywhere.
Am I freaking out? I mean, really, I'm trying not to sound like a conspiracy nut because I'm not accusing anyone of creating a conspiracy. But what I am saying is if I was a conspiracy nut or if I was a country that was conspiring to take over the world, this is not a bad way to do it. I don't think that's happening right now. I want to be real clear. But it's kind of the same result that we're experiencing right now, where everyone's being forced to shut down with who knows what consequences. But it's also the right thing to do. So we're all like, whoa, how do you know, it's another one of those things about being a person where the right thing to do still feels crazy. Still feels like, all right, we're just going to sit around. Well, yeah, I guess that's what you have to do, you know? And it's kind of, in one way, encouraging that so many people are willing to stay home. And people aren't rebelling. They're like, fuck you, this is my country. I'm going to go to work. I'll take a chance. Everybody's going to get it anyway. Fuck you. There's way less people doing that. And when you consider that the government is controlling 320 million people, pretty crazy. Almost everyone's complying with staying home. There's only a few essential businesses.
Yeah, we're going to have to, I think, really have spacesuits to leave the house and work.
God damn it.
And they're going to probably be like this metal plastic thing that could wash off really easy.
Yeah, they're all going to be padded. Dudes are going to put socks in their spacesuits. It's going to be a mess. Are you worried, Jamie?
Yeah.
I've never seen you this worried.
Because I've everything you're sort of saying, like I look into the future and sort of see where we're headed, and I don't really see much out there because I don't know where it is, but it's not anything good because there's nothing there. I don't see, like, going to the movies again. Seems like that's probably close to out. Movies were already dying anyway.
Yeah, they might not survive this.
They've already opened up the ability to, like, put those right into your house for $20. Perfect.
Way better.
Sweet. So when are movie theaters going to open again? All right, what's next?
Yeah.
Concerts, sporting events.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just those are all the fun things we used to do. So, like, fuck.
It's also, once everything's in place where they can treat people effectively and they have the adequate number of ventilators, then are we going to go back to the way things were, or are we going to have new standards in place? I don't know. I don't know, man. They did an unprecedented thing. They locked down the entire country to save people's lives. Never happened before. We're in new territory. And you know it's dangerous when a moron like me is making sense. When I'm one of the people who's talking about something like this.
Try to find it. I just read yesterday. I don't know if someone shared this. It was F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote. I think this was a letter found from 1920 when he was living in France during the Spanish flu.
Ooh.
And like he was talking. I don't know who he was writing to. I'll try to find it right now. But he's talking about how they stocked up on a bunch of alcohol and people were being told almost like now, like you're told not to go anywhere, but some people don't believe it. I forget. He was talking about another writer friend of his who wasn't taking it seriously and like.
Whoa, so it was like real similar.
It sounded very similar to this.
Yeah. I guess that's how people always have been, right? Especially back then when it's real hard to get information. Imagine people are dying and everyone's just like, what's going on? You got to read the newspaper. Like, fuck.
Son of a bitch.
What happened?
It's fake.
Ha ha. How'd they get you?
I just saw that this note was going viral during the pandemic and a lot of people have been falling for it. And
son of a bitch.
I guess I was one of them.
Well, what a good way to end.
Everything's fine. Everything's fake.